Hi guys, so I've been talking to you a lot about staying safe and respectful when you are angry. I've been showing you some different coping strategies you can use, and I've also shown you how to make a few different things that could help you when you're feeling really big feelings. So today I am going to show you how to make another thing that could be helpful when you're feeling really angry. I keep them in my calm down kit, and they are sensory bottles. So sensory bottles are a great tool to help you calm down when you're feeling really angry. I'm actually going to use the sensory bottle right now to show you how it helps you. I'm going to move this one out of the way. So first, we're going to pretend that this sensory bottle is kind of like a brain. This is the brain when it's calm right now. See how the water's pretty clear, the thoughts down here, they're all chill. It's easy to think. It's easy to make those good choices. But when we get really angry, all of our thoughts start flying around in our head, and it's hard to think. See how it's kind of fuzzy in there? It's hard to think. It's hard to make good choices. It's hard to stay safe and respectful. But when the bottle has a chance to just be still and calm down, give it some time, we can see that those thoughts start to settle down. We can see that the fuzziness starts to clear up. It starts to be easier to think, easier to make those good choices, and easier to stay safe and respectful. I like sensory bottles because they are a great way to help give your brain that time to calm down. When you're feeling really mad and you have those thoughts all going crazy in your mind and your mind's really fuzzy and you can't make those good choices, getting a sensory bottle, shaking it up, and just kind of focusing on it really helps your brain calm down. See all the beautiful swirling colors? This is a great way to distract your brain from that thing that was making it mad. So while you're distracted, and while you're focusing on it, you're looking at all those cool swirling colors, all the different pom-poms or beads or glitter. You're giving your body a chance to be calm. You're slowing your body down, you're relaxing your body, you're forgetting the thing that made you angry, and soon, as the bottle starts to get clear and calm down, you'll notice that your brain also is starting to feel clearer and calmer. Now it's easier for you to make those good choices. It's easier for you to make some good choices and to stay safe and respectful. So that is why these are really helpful. They're great distractions, and they're a great way to calm you down when you're feeling really, really mad. So before we get started making this, I am going to ask that you ask the grown-up in your house first for permission to make this. This is going to be a messy activity, and you are probably going to need a grown-up or an older brother or sister to help you with a couple different things in this activity. So please make sure that you ask permission first. Also, I would recommend doing this activity someplace like a table or maybe a kitchen counter. My camera doesn't fit very well on my counter, or I would be doing it there. But I definitely recommend for you to do this someplace that's easy to clean, like a kitchen counter. First thing that you're going to need for your own sensory bottle, move these over here, is a bottle. It can really be any sort of bottle. It could be a soda bottle, a water bottle, a juice bottle. I would suggest that the bottle is plastic, just because it's stronger. It's not going to break like glass would. Also, I would recommend that you find a bottle with a lid that screws on really tightly and does not leak. We do not want your sensory bottle leaking. It could cause a big mess. So make sure that that lid works really well. Once you have your bottle, you're going to need some water. You're going to also need some baby oil. If you're a little bit concerned, because baby oil can stain, if you're concerned about that and you don't want to use the oil, instead of this you could actually use soap or clear glue, but I'm going to be using baby oil. And then you're going to find some things that you can kind of fill your sensory bottle with. You can use lots of different things. In this one I used pom-poms, you can see down there. This one I used glitter, just the glitter. But you could use other things too, buttons, beads. I've even used sequins in the past. Lots of little different things that you could use to make your sensory bottle really beautiful. When you're looking for things to use, make sure that you ask the grown-up in your house first that it's okay for you to use them. Another thing you're going to want is a funnel. This will make it a lot easier to stay nice and neat and clean when you're filling up the bottle. If you don't have a funnel like this, you can ask a grown-up. to make a funnel out of another bottle, a different bottle, where they can actually cut it about halfway, like that with some scissors, and that will turn it into a funnel. But please ask a grown-up to do that. All right. And then another thing that you might need, or you might want to add, is some food coloring. Again, food coloring is something that is messy. This will stain your clothes. Make sure you ask your parents' permission first before you use it. And please also make sure that you have an older brother or sister or a grown-up with you when you're using them, just so that we can make sure that everything is neat, nothing's getting stained or dirty. So that is our food coloring. Now we have everything. I think that we are ready to get started with our sensory bottle. First thing you're going to need is your bottle. Take off that lid, put it to the side, make sure you don't lose it. We need that lid. And then we're going to get our water and our funnel. I'm going to hold that funnel on there tightly, and then we are going to pour the water into the funnel. Now it doesn't need to be any certain amount. I'm going to pour it about halfway, but if you want to use a lot of water, that's okay. If you want to use only a little bit of water, that's also okay. Actually, that sensory bottle I showed you before, the blue is the water. So in this one, I only used a little bit of water and I used a lot of baby oil. In the green one, I did about halfway of water and then halfway of baby oil. I'm going to be doing something more like this today, but if you want to use a different proportion, a different amount of water, it's okay. It's your sensory bottle. It can look however you want it to look. So now that I put in the water, I'm actually going to add my food coloring now and my glitter now, because if I wait till everything's way at the top, it's going to be really hard, especially for that glitter to go into the bottle without making a big mess and being difficult. So the first thing I'm going to do, carefully, is I'm going to get my food coloring out and I'm going to pick my color. Food coloring can stain. Please do this with a grown-up. I'm going to pick my favorite color, which is blue. Now, food coloring is super, super strong. So when you do this step with a grown-up, I would suggest only putting in a teeny tiny drop. It will get very dark very, very quickly. So just very carefully, I'm not squeezing too hard, I'm just kind of holding upside down and just the tiniest of squeezes. Eventually. There we go, and slowly it's dripping down. There we go. And I'm just gonna carefully kind of swirl it around a little bit so the food coloring can get moved around, kind of get mixed in there. See, I only did that one little drop, so the water is still pretty nice and light. If I did a lot of drops, it would be really dark and then it would be hard to actually see the glitter. So I kept the color kind of light. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Now I'm going to get my glitter out. So the glitter, I would definitely use the funnel for so it doesn't go all over. Also, I would pour in a small amount at a time. It could get clogged if you put a ton in at one time. So I'm just gonna sprinkle a little. And again, it's up to you with how much you wanna use. If you only wanna use a little bit, that's fine. If you want to use a lot, that's also okay. If you're pouring in things like beads, sequins, buttons, again, it's up to you with how much you want to put in there. It's your sensory bottle. You are unique and so is your sensory bottle. I'm going to put in a little bit more, I think. Ooh, that's a lot. All right, so now we have our glitter in there. For the next step, we're going to add in the baby oil. Again, the baby oil can stain. Make sure that the grown-up is helping you. They might have to help you with that lid too. Hold on 1 second. There we go. I got it. Maybe I didn't get it. Let me try it again. There we go. All right. Holding it on very carefully. We don't want this to fall out. I'm going to start pouring the baby oil into it. So because I did about halfway with the water, I'm going to fill up the other half of the bottle with the baby oil. But again, if you filled up a lot of water in there, then you're not going to use a lot of baby oil. Or if you only put a little bit of water, then you're going to use a lot of baby oil. Doesn't matter, whatever you want. It's a little bit noisy. Filling it up. You're being super patient, good job. So as you can see, the bottom is staying that light blue, because that's the water, but the oil cannot mix with the water because they have different densities. So the top is staying clear, that's the oil. And I'm being very, very careful as I'm getting closer to the top. We want to fill it up as much as we can, but we don't want to overflow because that would be a big mess. So I'm being super, super careful. Just getting closer to the top. I'm almost there, and then I'm gonna stop. Carefully take this down. Put my lid back on so it doesn't spill anywhere. Just like that. I'm going to carefully take my funnel out. There we go. Alrighty. And now I have just a teensy bit more. I don't know if you can see, but there's just a little bit more that does not have any liquid in it. We don't want any air bubbles in this, so I'm going to fill up that tiny amount at the very tippy top. I would suggest having a going up through this part just because you really want to be careful. I'm going to fill it up with just a little bit more water. Look at that, that's the water going down. Just a little bit more so there's no air at the top. There we go. It's pretty cool looking at those bubbles. I take my funnel down. All right. Look at that. So, if you have other things you wanted to add, obviously before you put the lid on, then you can add them. So I kept mine pretty simple with just the food coloring and the glitter because that's all I had. But if you want to add more, go for it. The last step, which is putting on the lid, you are going to want to use some glue. If it does not have glue, it could leak out, or maybe somebody that doesn't know that they shouldn't take off the lid might take off the lid and it could spill everywhere, causing a huge mess. So I would definitely have a grown-up, not a kid, but have a grown-up use some glue, like a super glue, something like that, to glue the lid on. And then when they do that, they actually put somewhere that people can't touch for a full day, 24 hours, so that it can dry. After the 24 hours, when it is dry, then kids can touch it. But I would definitely have it glued first, and remember, kids should not be using the glue. The glue must be done by a grown-up. We want to stay safe, and it's not safe for kids to be using things like super glue. Please have the grown-up do it. Do not do it on your own. Once it is glued, and once it has sat in a safe space, a safe area for 24 hours so it can fully dry, then you can use it. And then you can give it a shake. Look at that. And then you have your sensory bottle. Isn't that cool? I love it. I could stare at this all day. I think it's so interesting to look at it while all the colors are swirling around, and that is why sensory bottles are great things to have when you're feeling angry. It's really hard to keep thinking about those angry thoughts when you can just stare at all this beautiful glitter swirling around instead. So, you have just made your own sensory bottle. Thank you so much for making this with me. Thank you for asking a grown-up to do this with you. I hope that you had a great time, and I hope that this really helps you when you're dealing with a big feeling. All right, guys. Bye-bye.